Morning. Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. The lame duck session of Congress gets underway today. Lawmakers have till December 16th to come up with a government spending bill. Otherwise, the federal government will partially shut down. NPR's Barbara Sprent says a big negotiation point will be over funding for Ukraine.
President Biden has asked Congress for about $38 billion to aid Ukraine further, but there's growing resistance among Republicans on this type of continued funding for Ukraine without more oversight. Kevin McCarthy, the likely incoming House Speaker, has pushed back. Various members of his conference are increasingly against providing the Biden administration with money, and McCarthy needs their votes to win the speakership in January.
NPR's Barbara Sprent reporting. Nearly 1,000 Justice Department alumni are speaking out to support the special counsel investigating former President Donald Trump. NPR's Carrie Johnson reports they say Trump's bid for the White House makes no difference in the criminal probes.
The Justice Department veterans work for administrations ranging from Eisenhower to Trump. They say Trump's 2024 presidential bid should have no bearing on the special counsel probe of national security secrets found at Trump's Florida resort or the ongoing investigation into the attempt to overturn the 2020 election. The DOJ alumni say candidates for political office cannot be shielded from accountability, and prosecutors need to follow the facts and the law. Special counsel Jack Smith has pledged to exercise independent judgment and to move without delay. Carrie Johnson, NPR News, Washington.
The city of Houston remains under a boil water alert, but city officials say Texas state regulators have approved their plan to sample the water for safety. Officials say Houston's water pressure fell over the weekend after a power outage at a city water plant. Water pressure has been restored, but Houston officials must test the water for safety before lifting the alert. Stocks opened lower this morning as widespread protests in China raised worries about the world's second largest economy. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell nearly 160 points in early trading.
Asian stocks were mostly lower overnight as Chinese protesters vented their frustration at that country's strict COVID-19 restrictions. They've been imposed following the latest rise in cases. The Biden administration has cleared the way for Chevron to resume limited oil production in Venezuela, easing sanctions on the Maduro government. Crude oil prices continue to fall, along with retail gasoline prices. AAA reports the average price per gallon is now about $3.55 a gallon, down more than 21 cents in the last month. Black Friday retail sales were up about 12% from a year ago, outpacing inflation. That's according to MasterCard's Spending Pulse, which tracks purchases made with cash and checks, as well as plastic. Online sales were up 14%. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow is now down about 170 points. You're listening to NPR News from Washington. A white man accused of a mass shooting in a grocery store in a black neighborhood in Buffalo appears in court today in New York. He's expected to plead guilty to killing 10 people and wounding 3 others. The defendant also faces a separate federal hate crimes charge. Efforts are continuing in Ukraine to restore power and water to many cities and towns following last week's Russian airstrikes. The country's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, says Ukrainians should expect more outages from future Russian strikes. The BBC's Jessica Parker says crews in Kyiv are still working to restore electricity to some areas of the capital.
Strikes last week knocked out large parts of Ukraine's power network, cutting off water supplies to many people's homes and triggering widespread blackouts. President Zelensky said that efforts to restore the network meant only scheduled electricity shutdowns were now taking place in most regions. However, he warned new Russian attacks should be expected and urged Ukrainians to help one another as winter sets in. Nighttime temperatures here in the capital Kyiv, where fresh snow has been falling, could drop to as low as -7 this week.
Look out, there could be attacks.
Jessica Parker reporting.
While you're scheduling electric shutdowns.
Cameroon are looking for any survivors from a landslide that killed at least 14 people. The victims were attending a funeral when an embankment collapsed on top of them. Heavy rain has inundated parts of Cameroon this year. Separately, a landslide on the Italian island of Ischia has left at least 7 people dead, including an infant. Mud cascaded down a mountainside and into a densely populated port city. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News.
Sometimes politics can feel like just a lot of noise, but the decisions made by leaders in this country affect you. Stay on top of how changing policies, breaking news, and new rulings affect your life every weekday on the NPR Politics Podcast. Listen now.
In NASA news, SpaceX's 26th commercial resupply mission for NASA is on its way to the International Space Station. NASA will host a news conference at 5 p.m. EST Monday, November 28th, from the agency's Johnson Space Center in Houston to discuss the status of the uncrewed Artemis I flight test as the Orion spacecraft reaches the midpoint of its moon mission and its farthest distance from Earth at nearly 270,000 miles away. NASA has selected Rocket Lab USA Incorporated of Long Beach, California, to provide the launch service for the agency's time-resolved observations of precipitation structure and storm intensity with a constellation of smallsats, topics, mission, as part of the agency's venture-class acquisition of dedicated and rideshare, VADR, launch services contract. NASA and SpaceX now are targeting 2:20 p.m. EST Saturday, November 26th, to launch the company's 26th commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station.
Okay. Amazon.
Nat.
Off. Amazon. Tell us a joke.
What did the tree say to the moss? You're starting to grow on me.
Okay, well. Amazon. What's the weather in Kenmore, Washington?
Currently, in Washington County, Texas, it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun.
What's the weather in Kenmore, Washington?
Right now in Clallam County, Washington, it's 31 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy.
What's the weather in Kenmore, Washington?
In Kenmore, Washington,
Thank you.
it's 36 degrees Fahrenheit with showers. Today, you can look for snowy, rainy weather with a high of 41 degrees and a low of 26
Snow
degrees.
rain mix. Okay. Okie dokie. Have a great day wherever you are.